2 years ago and 99 episodes ago, I sat down with a young lady who inspires me a lot every single day. I think I am who I am because of who she is. Welcome to OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. We try to bring you conversations which are real, honest, relatable, and relevant. And I hope you have been on this journey with us for all the 99 episodes so far. So, for the 100th and the very special episode, I'd like to welcome back my muse, Shivangi. Shivangi, welcome back to Oats Uncut.
Thank you for having me. What a crazy whirlwind the last 2 years have been.
It has been, my God. So, just to catch people up to speed with what we've been up to, you were graduating Harvard Business School 2 years ago. I was thinking what else to do with Orator Academy.
Hmm.
You, 2 years later, well, you started your own company that
Crazy.
summer, that
Yeah,
summer. And I launched Oats Uncut, the podcast. You were just celebrating, or we were celebrating the fact that you were on the cover of HBS welcome brochure.
that was ridiculous. It was insane. I had no prior warning that that photo even existed, let alone was being put on a brochure and sent out. So that was pretty crazy to find out.
That was quite, it gave me quite a kick. And I'm sure you were quite
Yeah.
excited about that too. For somebody to reach out to you and say, hey, guess what? I just got accepted. And guess what? You are on the welcome brochure.
Literally, like I just got your face in the mail and I'm like, how?
Well, my face hasn't shown up anywhere, but it's just been on 100, well, 99 episodes of Votes Uncut.
Yeah, well, not to mention on election boards when you're running for Board of Ed across the entire town.
That is true. That is
To
true.
this day, I still find people who are from my area that recognize your face from that time.
That is true. That is true. And to get a Vineeta Khanna day in my town, and recently I was honored as one of the inspiring women of my town. So all of
100%.
that, it has been a very, very gratifying journey. So
Yeah,
it's very lovely to touch base 2 years later, almost about 2 years later, and see where we are at. And I was asking people for ideas as to what should I do for the 100th episode, and many people came back and said, "Hey, we would love to have Shivangi back on your podcast."
oh, that's so
Seriously,
sweet.
seriously. I mean, I was at my end thinking, will it be too much? Am I just kind of imposing my family on people? And people were the one who said, no, we enjoyed that conversation.
That's very kind.
So,
It's
Oats,
actually crazy. I've had people tell me that they've seen my podcast and I've said, "What? I don't I don't have a podcast." And they literally, people in like work contexts that I'm meeting for the first time have this preconception just based on watching that first episode, which is pretty crazy.
that is pretty crazy. But now tell me one thing, Shivangi. You started your own startup.
Yeah.
You could have just taken up a job, which I'm sure there were offers. It probably would have been less invested. I mean, not that one should be less invested in a job, but
Yeah, but
when
it's not the same as it's
it's
when it's
not the
yours.
same. When it's your own, you are
Yeah.
24/7 round the clock. There are no
Yeah. It never
weekends, there are
stops.
no evenings.
No,
Your brain doesn't stop.
totally.
And to that fact, even this weekend you've been exhausted. So
Yeah.
it's even more I feel like I'm imposing on you
No, no, no.
to
It's
get this
great.
conversation. But do you have any regrets 2 years later that you didn't take up a job but got yourself into all this?
No, I mean, there's definitely parts of this journey that are really difficult, and those shouldn't be glamorized or looked past. I think especially the first year is really, really hard. They say it's the -1 to 0 before the 0 to 1, right? When you kind of have nothing and you don't know if it'll go anywhere, and if all the work is sort of wasted or what. And now at least we have a bit more of an established brand and product and team, and there clearly has been something built. So now we're sort of in the 0 to 1. But I think when I think about that first year, it was quite difficult. And there are elements of, watching your peer set be able to do these big things and you're sort of building from scratch. There's obviously always a give and a take. But I have no regrets that this was the right choice for me at this stage of my life. I wasn't someone who took a single startup class during HBS. I didn't think that I was going to be a founder right after graduation. I thought I was going to be an investor, and I was very much down that path, and it was great. But I think it was the exposure to founders at that time that made me realize it was really actually when I met my now co-founder just for a project. But I had that baseline of having exposure to founders before that. That made it a little bit easier to sort of take the leap. And the most exciting thing about it was just even from that first project we did together, you have that sense of curiosity about the world in a time where the world is moving so quickly. Everything is changing so rapidly. And you're part of the progress, which is exciting, as opposed to being a recipient of progress that other people are making. It's we get to actually be sort of leading the charge on what the world will look like. And combining that with, well, there's all these things that are going to change, but which are the pieces that are the most impactful to what how I want to contribute to the world? And given my background has been mostly in finance and fintech, being able to apply what I already know and what I'm already really good at to this new and exciting change and time, I think that curiosity, that ability to build, that ability to sort of really make an impact in the things that you care about, I think I'll make it worthwhile, and I don't have any regrets.
Yeah, I think when I look back at your journey, you've always done things out of the box. Like out of the
Yeah.
blue, when you were graduating from eighth grade and coming into ninth grade, you were exploring. You weren't just satisfied with what clubs the school already had. You had to go and start something new. So I think you always had that bug. It would have been easier to just roll along with a club that was already there. And then when I remember you stumbled upon Do Something and you were very impressed with the causes that they were supporting. And then you brought it to the school, and the school turned around and said, why another club?
Yeah.
And then you went through trying to convince them why another club. So I think
Yeah.
you do take it upon yourself to be beyond what is expected.
But I think it was the same in terms of that club was so meaningful because the cause that we focused on rotated every month based on what people cared about. And I think it's the same kernel of what's happening right now of when you care about the work that you're doing, that ownership and that excitement is just a lot more. And so for me at the time, wanting to do something, literally do something about human trafficking and not having an outlet to make even a small little impact about just educating the community and doing fundraisers and whatever we were able to do, the fact that I was able to utilize that organization to make an impact in something that I cared about, and then every month rotate to what was what was the impact that another club member, so one I remember one girl's aunt had lupus, and so we did something for lupus one month. We did for breast cancer the next month. We did for animals another month. And each one was led by someone who deeply cared about the thing that they were leading. And I think that was almost a kernel of not just entrepreneurship of like, oh, yes, I started the club, but the ability to then hand that baton of entrepreneurship to each of the members of, okay, you get to invent a campaign around the thing that you care about. And that was entrepreneurship in its own way for each of those causes as well. But you've also had a very -1 to 0, 0 to 1 life in so many ways. I mean, you've sort of created all of the different adventures from scratch in terms of joining the hospitality industry without having previous experience and moving countries is the ultimate, the immigrant experience is the ultimate sort of entrepreneurship. How is that sort of manifested in everything that you're doing today?
I think when people compliment me and say that, I am accomplished or I can do everything, etc., etc., I always say to them, I am who I am because I put myself through uncomfortable, inconvenient experiences.
Totally.
I also did not just go the path which was easy.
Yeah.
In fact, if there was a challenge, then I had to.
Yeah.
And I think that continues till date. When I am challenged, then my immediate response is, oh, you think I can't? Watch me.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
but the
It's
thing is
almost like a dare.
that yes, I am. That's how I respond to dares. But the thing is, I don't really wait for dares to come from the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even mean it just like a dare, but I meant it as someone underestimating you almost manifests itself as a dare. Or I guess the thing that you were just about to touch on is you even underestimating yourself, maybe, is a push in itself to prove your previous doubts wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I do put myself through very harsh criticism. I am very critical of myself. I do.
No.
I do. And I remember when I had just started doing the radio show and I used to record my show while I was doing it. It was a live show. I would come home and want to listen to how I had done so that I could correct myself the next
Yeah.
day. I could not bear to listen to my own performance. I could not
No.
bear. Until date, I sometimes have difficulty when I'm reviewing a podcast and I'm thinking, okay, is it ready to be published? Is it okay? I had to train my brain to think as a third person, not take everything personally,
Yeah.
and then look at myself and look at that particular production. So it's been I think that whole thing of daring and challenging yourself has been actually pretty good. I feel it has brought out the best in me, whichever different industry I may have joined. And my thing is, if I don't know how something works,
Figure it out.
I want to figure it out. I want.
Yeah. I think that's a very immigrant thing too, right? You come to a new place, you don't know how anything works, and then you step by step have to figure out all of these different systems and rules and playbooks and unwritten, unspoken everythings that everyone else seems to know and you're just trying to figure out. Um, so, and then in the other vein, you can be your own worst critic, but also your own best cheerleader, depending on the nature and the tone of that self-talk. But both can be empowering.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what I tell my students also, that I'm not asking you to deliver something that
Yeah.
I am incapable of delivering.
Yeah. Do you think
So
that do you think that helps them relate to you and respect you, that you kind of bring your own experiences to your classroom?
I think they do respect that.
Yeah.
I think they do respect that, and that also then makes them tolerant towards my ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you're not saying do as I say, you're saying do as I am showing you by
yeah,
having taken those risks myself.
absolutely. In terms of just taking risks, and challenging yourself is when I say do as I show and I do as I do. For the
Yeah.
rest of it, it's not do as I do. You
Yeah.
be you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're trying to mold them into one unique or one uniform thing. It's you're trying to mold them into the unique version of that thing that they
Yeah.
are meant to be.
Because what do we have at the end of the day? It's our own
Yeah.
unique style, our own unique stride,
Yeah.
our swag. Come on, don't lose it.
And what
That's
do you think that is for you?
I don't know. I haven't ever broken myself down into those categories and defined myself. No,
Yeah.
I'm just happy being me. If I feel like breaking out into a song, I will do so.
That's true, you will. I can attest.
Yeah, I was at the Pride picnic just now, and that's why the scarf, you see the color
Love
of the
it.
scarf.
Love it.
And as I was packing up the Orator Academy table, I saw there was a booth for karaoke singing, and they were wrapping up too. And I ran to them. I said, "No, no, 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 no! I
Like one
just
more
wrapped
song.
up. Yeah, I want one song. I want to sing one song." And it was the cutest because I'll perhaps add that song to this podcast as well. So I asked them. I said, "Can you play more than words? Do you have the karaoke?" Of course, of
Oh.
course. And they looked at me like, more than words? By who? They looked it up. They said, by Extreme? I said, yeah, by Extreme. So then they played and I started singing. And guess what? Another gentleman was passing by and he stopped and he said, wait, that's my favorite song. So we gave him a
Oh.
mic too. So both of us did a duet.
And you couldn't make things new just by saying I love you.
Wait, is your brother or your
La
brother?
di da 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 di da da da. More than words. La di da da di da.
That is so
So
sweet.
random happiness
Yeah.
out of utter randomness. Why not?
Yeah.
So
Seriously, you took a risk, you started something, and then it became something beyond what you had imagined in just
and what
that
a
tiny little moment.
wonderful experience. I'm talking about it, and my heart is filled with so much joy, thinking,
Yeah,
reliving that moment. So when it comes to myself, I'm not breaking myself down into, how do I
yeah,
feel about that? It's just, okay, I just tell myself one thing over and over again, that I need to be true to myself
right, right.
and be comfortable being who I am. Because if I am not comfortable being who I am, I'm not going to respect myself, and neither will the world.
Yeah, and when you bring joy to yourself, to your own true self, then that has a multiplier effect on bringing joy to those around you as well, which is what literally just happened in that situation. It wasn't even someone you knew. You were able to bring joy to all the people hosting the karaoke, to this random man who saw this song. It's infectious. I think authenticity and joy are infectious.
And you remember, I think I mentioned when in the year when I was the president of the Board of Ed, and I had
Yeah.
to give the speech at the graduation,
Yeah.
I ended my speech with, "I hope you dance."
Yes, exactly.
So you
Wonderful song.
remember there was one student in the crowd who did a Snapchat story saying they were about to hand out the diplomas, and then the president of the Board of Ed decided to audition for American Idol. So somebody sent me that snapshot.
That's
And
so
yeah,
sweet.
so I have actually saved that snapshot. I removed the name of the guy,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
because I don't want to hold it against him, and I don't want anybody to hold it against him. So yeah, I hope I have that. If I have that, I'll share that as well. But yeah, I mean, I am thinking of what joy that next moment will bring me,
Right.
selfishly to a certain extent. But when you are having a good time by yourself, the world joins you.
That's true. Yeah,
And then it becomes a carnival.
it does. It does. And it takes starting the thing. It takes like the risk of starting the thing to build the carnival.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, Shivangi, you started this company and now you're the CEO and founder of this startup. Have you faced any difficulties being a young woman that you are, no matter how bright and brilliant and all over the place you are, but is any difficulties?
I mean, I think there's this concept of sort of microaggressions and what is, what I'll say is that less than 2% of venture capital dollars go to female-founded companies, and less than 1% of fintech venture dollars go to female-founded companies. And so it's something that you want to be aware of, but not to let that guide you, because that can be sort of the critic instead of the cheerleader, right? Which are you using that stat to say, this is why I'm doomed, or using that stat to say, this is why my work is significant, because just by existing in this work, in this industry, in this landscape, in the way that we have a positive externality on bringing this number up and creating that sort of ripple effect, hopefully for it to continue to grow higher. Um, but it certainly is difficult to, walk into a lot of rooms and not necessarily see a lot of folks like you. A lot of the times when we're, um, a lot of our customers in banks and tech companies, it's going to be overwhelmingly men. And I think it's just a reality that I don't even notice anymore, given I've worked in banks and worked in tech companies my whole career. I've almost always worked in teams of mostly men and been in these environments quite a bit, that it doesn't even sort of hit me. But every so often you do have to sort of zoom up and realize, there is a bit of your authentic self that maybe I'm not bringing enough of. And maybe if I was, then it would be maybe advantageous in a way of being something new and refreshing and a different style that, this industry hasn't seen. So I think it can be difficult, but it's similar to what I was saying in the beginning. There's two sides to everything, right? There's the pieces that make things hard, and there's the pieces that make things fun and exciting and great. And I think being different probably can be a superpower in these rooms, in the same way that it can undercut you. And it's how you utilize it, it's how you think about it. And ultimately not to let any of it become a self-fulfilling prophecy where you disqualify yourself before you've even started the race. But that doesn't mean it doesn't get in our heads sometimes. And especially in how we think about shaping an organization, most entrepreneurship books were written by men for men without even being intentionally so. It's just that that's who the landscape was. And so I think looking out for female founders who are role models to us, reaching out to them, asking them for advice, and understanding how they've molded the job to what is unique about being a woman, I think has been really important for us as well. But yeah, we're inventing something even in just having a female founder team in B2B fintech, right? So that in itself is exciting to invent.
Amazing. So how do you manage the work-life balance? I mean, it's very demanding, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they're better than others. I think right now, to your point you made earlier, it's mostly work, less life right now, but some, it ebbs and flows depending on the season and what's going on. And so, I think something I've been thinking about is there isn't necessarily balance in an intraday ever, but it's what are your priorities and are you able to, you know, spend time with you, for example, spend time with my friends, make sure I'm still reading books and doing and exercising and doing the things that I enjoy, but knowing that I'm never going to get the balance right within any day, but within a season, am I getting it right? I think that's the most important thing, to not sort of lose sight of yourself as you're working really hard and working towards your goals. I know you also do a million things all the time. How do you find balance and find time to take care of yourself in between it all?
I think I have put myself in things that keep me accountable.
Yeah.
Like if I have yoga on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m. in the morning, I will definitely show up for yoga.
Yeah, you have the accountability.
I like that account. If I'm going to the gym, I've signed up for a personal training session. I paid for it ahead of time at the
Yeah,
beginning of the month. And I mean, I can actually ignore that and I can say, well, it's okay. I could make it. I could make it. I lost the money. What's the big deal? Blah, blah, blah. But I, I think I always had this need to be a good student.
yeah.
So with my yoga, with my personal training, I feel like I want my trainer to be happy. I want my yoga teacher to
You have
be
to show
happy.
up.
So I show up and I do, and so I've kind of created this reputation in their minds also that Vineeta will show up.
Right, right. Yeah.
And to certain extent, such an extent that the my personal trainer actually last week was saying, he said, I want to see you more in the gym.
Mm,
So I'm thinking maybe he wants more personal training sessions so that he makes more
yeah.
money. No, but he said no. I mean, I didn't even spell it out. He just, I guess, read my mind. And he said, just cultivate the habit of stopping
Of
at the
showing up.
gym,
Yeah,
showing up, even if just to say hello.
right.
Pause, bring yourself to the gym, pause, say hello, maybe hang out with us 15 minutes and leave if you don't want to do anything, but start coming more frequently.
Yeah,
So I'm glad and I'm blessed that I have people around who also give you ideas as to
yeah,
how to bring that balance and
totally.
that you can do it. I appreciate such people. They bring such positive energy.
Yeah.
So I think I've just been lucky that I look at you. When there's a lot of overwhelm work-wise or whatever, you'll just go for a run.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But even now, I think when it's gotten really overwhelming, I'm the same where it's difficult to get yourself to be accountable. And so I have a slew of friends who live nearby. And when I know that I'm not working out enough, I'll do the same thing. I'll text them. We'll sign up for classes together. And therefore, I have the accountability to show up to have that workout with a friend. And I get to kind of do two things at once, right? I get to see my friends and I also get to have them hold me accountable to showing up in these times. And so I think it's important to have, you know, systems in place to help you maintain the balance because it's hard to sometimes self-motivate into all of it. But
What kind of books do you like to read?
oh, I'm in a book club as well. I'm not always feel like the head of my book club will see this. I know I have not come the last 2 months, so I don't always get to come when work is really busy. But right now, the next book club is going to be Lena Dunham's memoir, so that's the next one. I really like the Emily Henry rom-coms. I've gotten really into those. I'm reading Funny Story right now. I just started it yesterday, and then so on the business side, there's Careless People, which is the Facebook sort of tell-all. I end up reading a lot of books at the same time. A lot of times my brain kind of moves around them, but right now it's a lot of light, fun, sweet stories is kind of the books that I like to read and kind of get out of the day-to-day of serious stuff.
And what kind of music do you like to listen to?
Also all over the place. Like listen to Hindi music, I'll listen to Fred again and EDM, like acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. I'm going to see Noah Kahan for the third time. The first two times I saw him, it was only $30, and now it's hundreds of dollars to go see him. So music taste is really all over, but
But I
it's
remember even when you were much, much younger, in high school perhaps, you had some knack of figuring out which band would be popular. And you would start following, and then a few years later, they would really become the rage.
yeah, I mean, Noah Kahan literally used to play in Webster Hall. I paid no more than $35 for a GA ticket. I don't think he would even sell out. Like, it was tiny little venues with no one there. And now he's one of the most celebrated, famous artists out there. And I think I went alone one of the times too, because and I think I had the benefit of time to go down these deep rabbit holes and discover new artists that I don't go down those rabbit holes now. Now I know the music I like and I just kind of stick to it. But yeah, I mean, back in college, I used to listen to all these new emerging artists, and it's wonderful now, 10, 15 years later, to see how they've grown up alongside me. You know, like I think Noah's about the same age as I am, and I mean, Fred again, the same thing. I was listening to him when his very first EP came out in the middle of COVID. And one of my biggest regrets was that he played in New York at Terminal 5, and I think the tickets were like less than $100, and I didn't go. And then he blew up, and I got to see, I've seen him twice now, but both times more expensive than that. But yeah, I guess I don't, I think you need more time to discover. And COVID helped me slow down, so I was able to find Fred again before everyone else did. And then back in college, I think we had a lot more time, so I found Noah and other artists before they kind of got bigger. But yeah.
And you've traveled a lot also in the, years of your life. Which place do you think made you feel the the warmest in your heart? Which was the place that kind of always comes back to mind as to, okay, I really want to come back here someday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I have. I guess I have a couple. I've been to Brazil a couple of times, but that's because I know some people who live there. And so I think for me, places are more about the people than the places themselves. And so the first thing when you were asking the question was India, but it's because of the
Of the
family
people.
that's there, because Nani's there and all the families there. And then the second thing that came into mind was Brazil because of the people that were there that kept bringing me back. So yeah, I think it's wherever family is where I'll probably end up going the most, or where my friends are. But you know,
I think that's very, very relevant because there are some people who think very differently, and some people just out of the blue will pick some new city in some country and say, and I have asked them, do you know somebody there? How are you deciding to move? No, because the cost of living is very high here, and the culture and the political scene is not so good. So I'm just moving to another country altogether with nobody there at all.
it's a different type of mindset. There's lots of
Yeah,
people who live for adventure. They live for variety. I
and
do
that's also
too.
okay.
But yeah, for me personally, it's people, but again, everyone's got different priorities of what make them feel alive and what they make them feel warm and fulfilled. And you know,
Yeah.
whatever makes people happy is wonderful. That's just what makes me happy.
I think that's what is key. Don't overthink. Don't
Yeah,
overanalyze. Just
whatever.
feel what you feel in your heart. And if it makes you happy, that's good enough.
Exactly.
You don't
Yeah,
need to justify to anybody else.
exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Shivangi, thank you so much for giving your time. I know you've had a crazy schedule and it was hard to schedule this for you with you, but you still made the time for this. I wish you all the success that you are so well deserving of
Thank you.
because you are one of the hardest working people I know. Hardest working people I know,
I gotta slow
honestly.
down.
And you are one of the brightest individuals that I know.
Thanks.
And you
That
also
means
have
a lot.
you also have a very, very kind heart. And so for a person to carry all of that in them, in that one being, is an overwhelm in itself.
That's very kind. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
No,
And can say the same back at you 100%.
no,
Definitely
you are
was inspired by something, right? So
You
I
are
don't
way.
think anyone does as many things in the span of a single day as you are able to do in so many different physical locations, while also keeping every single person in mind and just doing it with grace and elegance and all of those things as well. So,
I had seen a post somewhere which said, life is not to be lived insulating yourself. It
yeah.
should be like a wild ride with that you're like a roller coaster where you're having a blast and you're saying woohoo! You're all bruised and scarred and beaten up, but you're
Yeah, I
having a
have
time
so
of your
many
life.
bruises on my legs from just hitting everything. Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Well, thanks for having me. It's nice to come back for episode 100.
Absolutely. Very, very special episode for me. The first one and the 100th one. Love you very much. Wish you the very best. Everything that you wish for, aspire for, and deserve. Love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
Thank you for tuning in to Oats Uncut. Thank you for being on this journey with us. We are because you are. Your subscription, your follows make us relevant. So please, please bring more people into this world. Yes, though I strongly believe that I don't need anybody's validation, but the podcast stays valid
Bye.
if you subscribe and if the following grows. And we're also open to feedback. So if there's something on your mind that you'd like to share with us, anybody you'd like to bring to Oats Uncut, please do reach out to us. You have the details, you know how to get to us. We love you very much. We thank you for your support all along, and we shall continue to meet you every single week, every Wednesday. Thank you.